Good morning, everybody. With me today are two cannabis farmers licensed with the state of California. Jim Moe, co-owner of Divine Pines in Nevada County, and we have Andeline Roy from Dew Point in Humboldt County. Hi, I'm Richard Parrott with Cal Cannabis. Part of why I love my job is getting to talk with the passionate, hardworking, licensed cultivators who are making the legal marketplace work. This is California Cannabis. I want to talk about the value of community in California's cannabis cultivation industry. Jim, would you like to start? Give us a little bit about how you got into the cannabis business.
We got involved in San Francisco in the 90s at the height of the AIDS epidemic. We started growing cannabis in our backyard. It was so useful pre-treatment days in AIDS, primarily for nausea and as an appetite stimulant. When I got well enough, I talked my husband into moving to the country and having another life. Let's have another life and let's grow medical cannabis out in the country. And we chose Nevada County for its climate and for the people who live in Nevada County.
Growing up during the war on drugs, it was scary and hard to be proud of my community and proud of who we were and what we did. A turning point for me was when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and I was able to give her cannabis with tinctures and edibles that my friends were making. And I really was able to see firsthand how it improved somebody's quality of life. I no longer feared who I was and what I do and what I wanted to do. And I'm so proud to be able to have a compliant business in the cannabis space.
How would you define community when it comes to cannabis farming?
I would define my cannabis community as a necessity, and that includes all the regulatory organizations too. We're kind of building the plane as we fly it. Just my business being supported by the county, by the state, and creating a pathway forward.
Thanks, Andeline. It's very reassuring to hear. We're working with an industry that's been in existence for a very long time, but is so new to all of regulation and these rules, and we want to really focus on education so that all of you understand how to comply, and that just ends up making you more successful. Jim, how about you? How would you define community?
With the beginning of legalization, the community was a loose-knit group who worked for the legalization. We really mentored each other. None of us knew how we were going to do the state applications. There was no expert in this field, and so we had to do it together, and the Cannabis Alliance led the way. But now we're finding we have to organize in ways to approach the marketplace. So there's where our community is going now.
How have cannabis farmers come together?
One of my favorite stories is a cooperative that was formed in the Mattole Valley where my farm is located, Uplift. The idea was to form a cooperative where smaller farmers can work together, support each other, and give small businesses a foot in the legal industry when competing with commoditization and multi-million-dollar companies. There's volunteers that have been working tirelessly to create this organization to support other farmers.
For me personally, it's turning more and more looking towards our cooperative and that community we're forming there. We end up sharing a lot of just gardening, farming practices. So on that very practical sense, relying on the expertise that each and every one of us has.
Just taking a look back at last year, any examples or any stories you could share about community with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic?
We formed our own little community, then quarantined together. But we did a harvest with 5 people. And then we continued with our cooperative community by doing Zoom meetings. We stayed in touch and kept moving that forward.
How have you made friends with cannabis farmers in other parts of the state?
Just being involved and trying to stay present with the evolution of the compliant cannabis industry. More often than not, we're not in competition. We're working together to normalize the industry and to make it work.
We're all in it together, us small legacy farmers.
Jim, Andeline, I just want to thank you again for sharing your stories with me today. Thank you so much.